We have not really changed our threat level for the Bab el-Mandeb and the Red Sea for a number of months now because of the Houthi threat. We haven't seen previous threats over the past few months really materialize, so we are continuing to monitor the situation in this region for our clients. As you mentioned, the threat right now is against Saudi Arabia, and we believe that the threat will remain in the region as long as the conflict in the other side of the Middle East in the Strait of Hormuz continues. And that threat, we believe, could escalate outside of just Saudi Arabia to potentially other ships in other countries if the war in Iran continues to escalate.
And Corey, what does blockade mean in practice to you and your clients? What's your understanding of the capabilities that the Houthis actually have to enforce this on the water?
So that's a really good question, Dan, and that's something that we're continuing to analyze. Our analysis was earlier in the year that the Houthi capability had been degraded because of attacks by the U.S. and Israel within the region, but also a decrease in supply coming from Iran because of the conflict in the Strait. However, as we've talked to a couple of people and sources that we have on the ground over there, we believe that the Houthis do still retain some capability to strike ships in this region. So that's why we have not changed, reduced our threat level for ships and our clients that are potentially looking to transit through this region.
And you mentioned the Houthis say that this is going to target Saudi-linked shipping specifically. What about other ships? Are you seeing any signals that they are allowing other vessels to pass through, or has this effectively halted all transits in the waterway as we know it?
At this point, we have not seen all transits through the region halt. There are still some ship movements. But as you know, that the ship movements have reduced 80 to 85% over what they normally were kind of before this conflict in the region started a few years ago. So there weren't a lot of ship transits through this region. It has been reduced even further because of the threat, but there are still ships that are transiting. Again, it's just the Saudis that have been targeted in this current threat by the Houthis.
And so what are you telling clients right now? If you're a ship owner, for example, do you reroute around the Cape? Do you maybe anchor at sea and wait this out? Or do you sail with armed protection maybe? I know that's an option that some ship owners, some ship captains and their crews have also been considering, particularly for the duration of the Strait of Hormuz closure. What are you advising right now?
Most of our clients right now have continued their transits around the Cape and have not brought their transits back to this particular region, Dan. And that's what we're advising right now. When you look at armed guards on board the ships, armed guards have proven to be fairly effective when you look at the piracy threat into the Gulf of Aden and south of the Bab el-Mandeb. But when you look at the threat that's posed by the Houthis, or the potential threat, we don't really believe that armed guards are going to be effective against a potential missile, drone, or a vessel strike against the ship. So the guards may be effective through the piracy area, but once you cross through the Bab el-Mandeb into the Red Sea, they're not going to be effective to help ships kind of maneuver through the Houthi-controlled area of the region.